Question number 12, Clare Curran.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. To the Minister of Civil Defence, does he support the call from Dr Ken Gledhill, Director of GeoNet, for a 24/7 tsunami warning system? If so, when will the government provide the funding for that system?
The Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
Mr Speaker, work on that possibility had begun before the events of last Monday morning and will continue. And once all that work is completed, then we'll be able to make a determination about how the result of that work may be implemented.
Supplementary question, Clare Curran.
Is today's Dominion Post editorial correct that the quote, "The situation is insane that GeoNet does not have round-the-clock staffing and that every minute counts and that the government must take action straight away, and therefore why will he not urgently provide the funding for this?"
The Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
Well, largely, Mr Speaker, because we have a group of people inside the government working on the prospect, and I'd rather take their advice than that of the Dominion Post.
Supplementary question, Clare Curran.
Does he agree that the tsunami warnings on Monday morning were confusing to the public, given that tsunami sirens in New Brighton and Sumner did not sound until 2 hours after the earthquake struck and an hour after the National Civil Defence website instructed coastal residents to move to higher ground immediately?
The Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
Mr Speaker, all decisions about turning on sirens, etc., are made by local authorities. I think the breakdown here has occurred in the transfer of information from the Civil Defence Emergency Management bunker to that particular authority, and I'm still trying to find out exactly what happened there.
Supplementary question, Clare Curran.
Why is it that a national public emergency alert system is not yet available to the public, given his government has spent $538,000 in the last 2 years to develop such a system, which has been found to be well designed and was described by the previous Director of Civil Defence as having the potential to be a critical component of a public alerting system?
The Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
Well, Mr Speaker, work on having a public alerting system has been, as the member points out, going on for quite some time. That work will continue once Civil Defence are away from their immediate task of assisting in this current event, and I would expect that in due course there will be a public warning system. What I would have to say to the member is that there are many of us who have experienced public warning systems in other jurisdictions and observed that many people become somewhat inured to the message that comes through those systems unless they are less frequent and more targeted. So there's no simple answer to all of this. I think there is a great deal to be learnt out of the very real, frightening and threatening situation that developed on Monday morning, and I'm sure that all of those lessons will be packaged into a response for the future.
Supplementary question, Clare Curran.
Does he accept it is a priority for New Zealanders to have a properly functioning tsunami 24/7 warning system and a national emergency public alerting system?
The Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
Mr Speaker, given that the government has been working on this for a time and has committed funds to it, it would be churlish for me to say anything other than yes.
And that concludes questions